Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Cool Tech, Tips and Tutorials. Today's episode is going to be dedicated to a tutorial about the new Sparkswitch Pro. So let's get straight in there. Let's start from the beginning. Powerbox brought out their Spark switch as an electronic on-off switch, which most of us have all been using for years on all of our petrol-powered models to make sure that the ignition stays off when the model is turned off. And it allows us to turn the ignition on or off from the radio very easily and very safely. The original version would only regulate to 5.9 volts. They then brought out a 7.4 version and a 12 volt version, having to buy the right version depending on what voltage output you wanted. Lately, they just came out with the new Sparkswitch Pro, which allows you to regulate either to 5.9 volts or unregulated. So whatever power goes in is the power that comes out. But the Sparkswitch Pro goes way beyond that. It adds in an extra layer of telemetry that we didn't have before. It allows you to see the temperature of your engine, the RPM, and a load of information in the background like the current consumption, the power input, the power output, etc. All of this comes as standard in the box, so it actually comes with the sensor for the temperature, and you can pull the RPM directly out of the tacho port on most engine ignitions. Or if your ignition doesn't have a tacho output, you can simply use the Powerbox-Systems RPM sensor, which wraps around your ignition wire and detects the RPM via the sparking of the spark plugs. If using the Powerbox Core radio, you can also set up everything directly from the radio. It does, however, still work with any other brand of radio, including all of those telemetry features, the only difference being that you'll need to set it up either via a computer with the USB wire or via a mobile device and their Bluetooth adapter, the Bluecom. Option A, using a Powerbox Core radio. If using a Powerbox Core radio, no action is required straight out of the box. It's already prepared and ready to go. All you need to do is install it in the model and turn it on. Once connected up and turned on, we can create the widget which will allow us to see all the telemetry information. So we create a new sensor, it automatically detects the Sparkswitch Pro and all of the different information that we have available to us. So let's say we want to see the status, because that's the easiest one for us to check here on the bench. As soon as you create a widget for the Sparkswitch Pro, you also have these other options that become available, such as the alarm, which you can set to go off if, say, the temperature goes above a certain point, and the menu where you can choose which channel you want the Sparkswitch Pro to listen to if you're using the bus system. What happens here is you can either input the signal for on or off from a single lead through a single channel, in which case there's no questions. However, if you decide to go via the bus system, the P2 bus, then it's receiving all of the channels from the receiver and it needs to know which one to listen to. So in the menu we can set whether we want it to be listening to channel 12, which is the one it listens to straight out of the box, or any other channel in our range. We now hit OK, and we now have a widget showing us the information for our Sparkswitch Pro. On and off. We then create as many widgets as we want to see as much information as we want. Voltage, current, capacity, RPM, temperature or status. Easy. Option B, using any radio other than the Powerbox Core. So we'll need to connect the Sparkswitch Pro either to a computer or a mobile device using the Bluecom. So I'm going to fire up the mobile terminal on my phone, allow it to check for updates, and open up Accessories, where we'll find the Sparkswitch Pro. Give it a second just so it can find the blue com. And try again. Open the Sparkswitch Pro. Now just follow the instructions on the screen and wait for a few seconds whilst it connects and retrieves all the information on the Sparkswitch Pro. At the top of the page we can see the telemetry system for which the Powerbox Sparkswitch Pro is outputting information. So we need to select which device it is that we're going to be using. So the P2 bus is the Powerbox Core radio. S bus 2 would be if we're using Futaba. We have HOT for Graupner, Jetty, M-Link for multiplex and JR. We then need to choose how we're going to get the on-off signal from our receiver to the Sparkswitch Pro. This can either be via PWM, which is where we just take one lead which has one channel's information on it and plug it into the Sparkswitch Pro, or if we're going to take out the bus line from the receiver, in which case we need to tell the Sparkswitch Pro which of all the channels that it's receiving does it need to listen to. Now, as standard, it comes set to channel 12, however, we can adjust that however we want, up or down, for whatever channel it is that we want to use to control that on or off switch. And finally, at the bottom of the page, we can select the output voltage that we want coming out of our Sparkswitch Pro when it's on. We can choose between 5.9 volts regulated or regulator off, which is where the Sparkswitch Pro is open and whatever power goes in one side will come directly out of the other, be that 5.9, 7.4, 11.1 or anything in between from whatever power input that we have connected to it at the time. At the top of the page we also have an update button which will allow us to update our Sparkswitch Pro to the latest version of software if there are any further versions beyond the one that we have already. Once we're finished, just back out of that, unplug everything and we're good to go. Basic installation in the model is very simple and is identical to how the original Spark switch was installed. So you have a power input with a power output, an LED which indicates whether the electronic switch is on or off, and one signal lead which is to control whether you want it on or off. The difference with the Sparkswitch Pro, of course, is that it has a couple extra leads going into it for all of those telemetry features. For the temperature, all that you need to do is connect it into the telemetry port for the temperature, and you also need to connect to the receiver one extra wire for the actual telemetry. Depending on how your receiver works, it may actually not even need that second wire, as it may be able to do everything via bus, as is the case if using the Powerbox radio, in which case both the signal for on or off and the telemetry information going back all go via the same wire. Installing the temperature probe is actually really simple. It comes included in the box, and all that you need to do is drill a small hole onto the last cooling fin of your cylinder, screw it into place and attach it to the Sparkswitch Pro. As far as the RPM, that's also very simple. All that you need to do is connect via a Y lead the output to the engine and the input from the RPM into the same socket here for the output. Both of those will then get mixed in here and sent back to your receiver via that telemetry wire. Depending on which radio you're using, you may need to take additional steps to correctly register the sensor for the telemetry to the radio. In the case of the Powerbox Core, however, no action is required. As soon as you turn the radio and the model on, the radio will automatically detect the sensors, and it's just a case of displaying them on the screen so you can see the information that you are actually interested in. Once it's all installed, it's just a case of turning it on, starting the engine, checking all the information, and then the really fun part, when we actually get to go fly. And there you have it, a really great evolution of the original Sparkswitch, now including a load of telemetry in the new Sparkswitch Pro. Both versions are of course still available, being able to choose whether you want the simple on-off switch or the on-off with telemetry version for your next model. I really hope that you found this video tutorial helpful. If you have any questions, please make sure to leave them in the comments below and I'll get straight back to you. Leave us a like, subscribe to the channel if you aren't already, and thanks for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. I'm Martin Pickering and I really hope that you've enjoyed this video. Make sure to come back every Tuesday for a new episode of cool tech tips and tutorials, and on Sundays for flying videos and event coverage. Or hit that subscribe button and the bell that's next to it in order to receive a reminder when the next video is uploaded. Thanks for watching and I'll see you all in the next one.